All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to talk about a new open standard that is quietly but completely rewiring how AI connects to the real world. It's called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP for short. And trust me, it's designed to solve one of the biggest headaches in AI today.
Honestly, this quote right here is the single best way to get your head around what we're talking about. You know that drawer full of tangled, messy cables we all used to have for every single device? USB-C came along and fixed all that with one universal standard. Well, MCP is trying to do the exact same thing, but for connecting our AI models to all our apps and data.
So why do we even need a USB-C for AI? I mean, what's the big deal? Well, it all comes down to AI's biggest bottleneck. By themselves, these amazing large language models are basically stuck in a box, completely isolated from your personal data, your company's data, and pretty much the entire real world.
For most of us, this isolation forces us into what I like to call the copy and paste tango. We've all done it, right? You find some info in a doc, you copy it, you tab over to the AI chat, you paste it in, you get a response, and then you copy that and paste it somewhere else. It's clunky, it's manual, and it's just so inefficient. Now, if you're a developer, that little tango turns into a full-blown nightmare. It's called the N by M problem. Just look at this. You've got N different AI models, Claude, GPT, Gemini, you name it. And you've got M different tools and data sources, databases, APIs, local files. To connect any one model to any one tool, you have to build a custom integration every single time. It's a mess.
And this is exactly where the Model Context Protocol comes in. It's the elegant solution to all that chaos. Instead of endless custom connections, it creates one single, standardized port that everything can just plug into. Let's break down the name real quick, starting with protocol. If you're a dev, you know this one. A protocol is just a set of rules for how things talk to each other. Simple. Think of it like this. HTTP provides the rules for the web. MCP provides the rules for feeding context into an AI.
Next up, model. Pretty straightforward. This just means our large language models like Claude or GPT. But here's the crucial thing to remember. These models are language experts. They are amazing at predicting the next most likely word. They are not databases of real-time facts. They're masters of grammar, not gurus of what's happening right now.
And finally, context. This is the secret sauce. Context is all the background information you give the model to work with. Think of it this way. The more relevant info you provide, your calendar, a specific piece of code, a database layout, the better, more accurate, and more useful the model's response is going to be. Better context in, better answers out.
So let's put it all together. The Model Context Protocol is simply a standard set of rules to feed external, real-world context into any model. It's that universal adapter we've been talking about, letting any AI app talk to any data source without that custom coding nightmare.
Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, but how does this actually work? What does the plumbing look like? Well, the architecture is surprisingly simple, really. It's just 4 key parts. Let's take a look.
Let's just walk through this. First, you've got the host. That's the AI application you're actually using, like your code editor. Built into that host is the MCP client, which is responsible for all the communication. That client then talks to an MCP server. Now, this is the key piece that developers get to build. It acts as a bridge to the final component, your data source, whether that's a database, an API, or just files on your computer. And here's a really cool technical detail. When you're connecting to local data sources, like files right on your own machine, this whole conversation doesn't use clunky network calls like HTTP. Nope, it uses standard input and output, just like 2 programs talking to each other in a terminal. It is fast, it's direct, and it's super secure.
So, where does MCP fit in with everything else that's out there? You know, we already have other ways to connect AI to tools. Let's put MCP into the current landscape and see what makes it so special.
Now, don't worry about memorizing this whole table. Just focus your eyes on that portability row. See how things like function calling are often vendor-specific? They lock you into one ecosystem? But MCP, it's built from the ground up to be cross-host and cross-server. That's the game changer. You build one MCP server, and it can be discovered and used by any AI application that speaks the language.
And what about RAG? I absolutely love this analogy here. RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation, is like a chef's prepped ingredients, your mise en place. It's perfect for static knowledge, like a company handbook. MCP, on the other hand, is like a live assistant, rolling a cart up to your station with fresh, real-time ingredients the very second you need them. And look, this isn't just some theory. The heavy hitters are already jumping on board. We're talking Supabase, GitHub, Stripe, even Microsoft is building support for MCP directly into its platforms. This thing has some serious momentum behind it.
So what does this all add up to? What happens when we give every tool and every data source a universal plug? Well, we start moving towards a much more powerful, much more proactive kind of AI.
And this right here is the biggest takeaway. MCP is the technology that helps turn AI from a passive chatbot into an active agent. It's the difference between asking, what are the steps to push my code to GitHub, and just saying, push my latest changes. The AI can now do things for you. Now, for all the developers out there, this is a massive opportunity, not a threat. I mean, someone has to build all these MCP servers, right? Someone has to create those bridges between our complex systems and the world of AI. And that is going to be a new and incredibly valuable skill.
Which leaves us with this one big, fascinating question. Once we have a universal connector for our AIs, a true USB-C port for intelligence, the possibilities are just endless. It feels like the early days of the web or the very first app store. We're just beginning to scratch the surface of what we can build when everything is connected. So, what are you going to plug in first?